In this part of the third-person 3D action game tutorial, we will be looking at audio and how to source audio from the internet, how to edit it yourself, and how to implement it in your Unity project. So let's start by figuring out where to get audio. And if you don't have the time, or you don't have the resources to create your own sound effects or create your own music, I have two sources that I quite like that you can access for free from the internet. This one is freesound.org. You need an account to access downloads, but it's completely free. It runs off of donations, and most of what you'll find here are really good quality. The second source you can find over here on YouTube. When you click your icon on the top right corner, you can see YouTube Studio. You can click on that, and then it brings you to your channel dashboard. And then on the left panel here, you can see audio library. This is where you can find thousands of really good, really high quality, really clean audio tracks. And yeah, I've been using this for years, and it has rarely ever let me down. And yeah, it's a lot of both of these sources are completely free. You can use them commercially. Some of them you have to credit, but most of the time you don't have to do anything. You just have to download the files and you can use them in your work. So next up is editing sound. I like editing sound a lot because you can take what you've acquired from different sources from other people and turn them into something that's cohesive and things that will sound like they belong in the same space. I use this program called Reaper. It is a paid program, but you can download it. It's a 30-day free trial that you can just do over and over again indefinitely, so it's basically free. But in here, as you can see, I put different sound effects and the background music that I've chosen from the sources that I've presented before. And what I've done is quite simple. Down here, there are these volume sliders, and I've just adjusted them. So even if in Unity I set the volumes all at the same level, they will be balanced to my liking. And then in terms of effects, I just have these two plugins. These are both free. Isotope Vinyl, which is a little bit of a vintage distortion effect plugin, and Valhalla Supermassive. This is a reverb, echo, delay plugin. It's very versatile. It's one of my favorites. I've been using these two plugins for years, ever since I've started doing audio. So these are very reliable. The presets are good, and they're easy enough to tinker with. You can just turn the knobs and go for a sound that you like. So I'm gonna unmute this, and let's look at the background music, and let's listen to it without the effects. It's let's go to a more exciting part. So as you can see, it's a very clean track. There isn't any like weird artifacting. There isn't anything. It's very clean. It sounds good. It sounds very commercial, but with these two, you can break it down a little bit. You can make it sound more natural. You can make it sound like you're in a room hearing this music rather than just in your headphones or through your speakers. So let's turn on the effects. So it is a very subtle effect. These two are working in combination with each other, but as you can hear, it's much more spacey. It sounds much more spacious. It sounds a little bit more like it's coming from a speaker. And yeah, now that we have this covered, let's go to Unity and I'll show you how to put this in your game. Alright, so now we're in Unity, and all we really need is one script. I named the script Sound Effects Manager, and then I made an empty game object, and then added that to it. And then for the background music, it's simple enough. I just made an audio source game object. Is it called an audio source? Yes. I just made an audio source game object, and then I passed the background music audio clip to it, and then I made sure that play on awake and loop are both turned on. So let's go into the code for the Sound Effects Manager. So this is a Sound Effects Manager. Start by making sure that you have it set to an instance, because we only want one instance of a single call of this function running at the same time. So audio clips won't play, the same audio clip won't play on top of one another. To make that, we just do public static Sound Effects Manager instance, and then in the awake function, we just set this instance. If instance is null, then this is the instance. And then we set a variable for the game object itself of the audio source. We're going to be setting that up later. So we can instantiate, right? We can instantiate a game object where the sound will be playing. So here is the sound clip function. This is what we're going to use to play audio clips here. But before that, the reason why we're using a separate code for a separate script for managing sound effects is that when we do this inside of the game object, there will be issues where the game object might be destroyed. The sound effects would just stop in the middle of it playing. There's also the issue that the same audio clip playing on top of one another, sometimes it creates an infinite loop. And yeah, this is just a more reliable, it's more resilient, and less will go wrong when you use this type of when you use a separate script and a separate manager for your sound effects. So for this play sound clip function, we pass through an audio clip variable. This is where the game object that we're calling here will go. This, and then spawn transform is just the location of the object that we want the audio source to be playing from. Clip length, I used a clip length as a variable, so you can just so you can fine tune how long you want your clips to play. You can always reuse a clip length variable here because so you can fine tune the length of the clips that you want to play, but if you only want the clips to be played for how long the actual clips are, you can always use this line of code. But since we don't want that, we're gonna remove that. And we have here a variable for volume. And then in this, so we now go inside the play sound clip function. We spawn the game object. We're gonna make the prefab in a second, but this is the audio source. We are instantiating the sound object in the position where spawn transform is, and we don't care about the angle, so we're just gonna put quaternion that identity. Then we're gonna assign the audio clip to the one that we're calling in the function. We're gonna assign the volume to the value that we input into it, and then this is how we're gonna play the function. And then after the clip length has elapsed, we will destroy the audio source game object. So that's it for the sound manager. Now we're gonna go to how we're gonna play, or how we're gonna use this function to play a sound. So we're gonna go into this attack script, and then we have these two variables right here. So this refers to the audio clip, and this refers to the volume. And then we're gonna go down to, where did I put it? Here. We're gonna go to when the players attack. We're gonna call the function play sound clip attack clip, which is the variable for the audio clip. Transform. So it's just where the game object is. I'm gonna play it for 1 second, and the attack volume will be assigned outside of it. So we're gonna go back to Unity. So for our sound object prefab, we have this. It's just a empty game object with an audio source component. It has make sure you have play on awake turned off, so it will only play the audio when we want it to. And then we're gonna put the sound object prefab into the sound effects manager's script component. And then for the player, we're gonna make sure that we have a volume assigned and we have an audio clip assigned. And also make sure that on your camera you have an audio listener component, and that on the top right of this preview screen you have your audio turned on. So now we're gonna see how it works. So as you can hear, the background music works, and then when we attack, the sound effects plays. And there is also a sound effect when you get damaged. So that is it for this part of this tutorial. Thank you.